Hello and welcome to Survivor Weekend Check-In with Laurie and Smith. I am a child abuse survivor and secondhand victim of domestic violence. Grew up in an abusive, really dysfunctional home, and I just want to do these videos really for adult survivors of child abuse, mainly as a check-in. Just to be a bit of a voice of encouragement and just to just to sort of let people know out there that you're not alone, and you know make sure that if you're struggling, that you get help and you reach out, call a crisis line, whatever you have to do. Because many times we don't have people to talk to. Many times, survivors of abuse really are quite on their own, and so you know it's I just want to do these shows just really as a support system for a few minutes, on the weekend, that someone out there who may be struggling hopefully will, have some validation and someone who understands even remotely where they are, where they've been. So, it's a tough road. This walking this journey here. I've been on my healing journey for quite a while now, since 2007, and so next year would be 10 years really. I didn't do the bulk of my work, my healing work, until 2009. Started working on it 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012 mainly. And then the last few years, I've sort of put things off. I've been very, very busy, like most people, and sort of let the ball drop on my healing journey. But I was already quite a ways through it, so I was feeling pretty good. And so this is kind of why I'm doing the show. I've been on my healing journey a long time, and I've had people encourage me along the way to keep going, to reach out, to get help, to call someone, not suffer on your own. And so I just kind of like to be an encouragement to other people too, you know, to make sure that you do get some help, right? And so if you want to, you can check out on my Blog Talk radio site, my Blog Talk website there. I had a Blog Talk show signed up back in 2009. I did 1,100 shows over the course of quite a few years. Did more shows than that actually over with another Blog Talk radio show, about 500 more or so. I was speaking on Blog Talk radio pretty well every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and for a few years. And it was very, very helpful for my journey. But I was hoping that it would help somebody out as well. I like to do these videos because it's nice for a person to see a person's face. When I'm talking on Blog Talk radio, you can't see my face. You really don't know who I am, and what I'm all about, really. Just listening to a voice talking there. So I like to do these videos. I just started doing them actually because my old computer didn't have a good enough camera, just didn't have a good enough, system to be able to do the videos or even to store them or to upload them. So this computer's a little bit better. And so it allows me to do this as a video as well for people, so that you can put a face to the name and you can see who I am, and why I'm doing what I do. And so it's very important for people, I think, to be able to connect with someone and see their face and listen to their voice while they're watching them, so they know who they are. And so I like the Blog Talk Radio for the medium that it is, because it reaches a lot of people. And there are lots and lots of shows on Blog Talk Radio for survivors of abuse. I'm just one, and it's a good medium, and I think it's worth taking a look at. So if you're ever looking for something to do on a weekend and have nothing better to do, you can hop over to Blog Talk Radio. Just type in self-help, and you'll see most of them put their stuff under self-help or inspiration, or for categories, right? Motivation or whatever, education sometimes. You can look under those tabs and find those shows, because there's some really good shows there. So you don't have to just listen to mine. I actually do those shows for me. They are very, very helpful. I'm a survivor of horrific abuse, child sexual abuse as well, and was born into abuse. And you can go to my website. I put a website together in the last couple of months. It took me 2.5 months to do it. Born in Hell website, really, because I was born in hell. I didn't stay there, thank God. As an adult, I finally got out of that hell, but I got out of that pit of destruction that my parents and my siblings set up for me. And so, but it's just a website I put together with all of my stuff on there. My audio is there, my video. I did 26 hours worth of video there, just detailing the abuse of the different years, really going into the details because I want the public to know, what how horrifically damaging child abuse is if it doesn't kill the child. Then they will have to go through trying to learn how to be an adult in the adult world that most of us have no idea how to cope in or even how to navigate, right? We're given that information. So it's like, I just kind of wanted to be a support system for people and also just a voice out here for those whose voices have been silenced. And just a bit of validation for adult survivors of child abuse, who don't have validation, right? So that's why I'm doing these shows. And this show, I mean, this is the first introductory Survivor weekend check-in video, and I hope to do more. I hope to be able to do one every weekend, at least one per weekend. Probably just do one, just for time constraints. But I thought it'd be nice to do this format as well. And on Blog Talk Radio, I look at all kinds of information there through the week. If you want to join me, it's an early show, but you can always catch the archives if you want to. I do it at 6:30 in the morning just because I have to get busy started on my day. And so it's sort of one of the first things I do in the morning to make sure I get it done. And then I'm working on my healing journey. See, so as I do these shows, it helps me see where I'm at, what I need to work on, and hopefully it's helping somebody else too, right? So that's the purpose, really, and a dual purpose. So I appreciate everybody who's tuned into my shows and actually taking the time to look at my stuff. But you can catch my website. It's author Laurie and Smith -Tornera.weebly.com. I put it on Weebly because Weebly is a free account. And if down the road, for whatever reason, life is life, I'm going to eventually be leaving this planet. But it's my turn to go. I really wanted my information to stay out there. And if you have a .com and it doesn't get paid for, they shut your website down. And so, I thought I got to put it someplace where it's not going to disappear. So I put it on YouTube and I put it on my own website, Weebly. Which is a free website, which will stick around because it's set up with a different email that won't disappear if I disappear. So I really wanted my information to stay here for people, long after I'm gone. And I'm hoping to encourage people, who have been to the very pits of hell, to that very pit of darkness, and don't know how they're going to even get through another day or another night. I have been there. So many of us have. I mean, I want to say millions, millions and millions of people have been there. Sometimes we feel like we're the only ones, when we're going through that. And sometimes we feel like, no one understands where we've been. I used to feel that way. And I mean, I know now as a survivor, as a person who's working towards my healing journey here, that there's many, many millions of us, if not trillions, who have been to that place, and actually made it out. And so that's why I like to be a bit of a voice of encouragement here for people, because it's so important. And so you can listen to my shows if you want to, my archived BTR shows, Blog Talk Radio shows. But I just thought I'd do this one show on the weekend just to sit here with you, as a survivor of abuse, and just to walk this walk with you. You can walk it with me, and hopefully, this will help you through the weekend to realize that there is help. There is hope. You have to reach out if you want to make the difference. If you want to make, you got to make that choice. I finally started reaching out in 2009. It was really a matter of desperation. That's why I did it. I was actually started my healing journey in 2007. But 2009, it became a serious issue, and I really needed to reach out. So I reached out to the world instead of just one or two people. I actually reached out to the world, started a public-facing blog, started talking to people about the abuse, and it was a safety measure, really. And I felt that I needed to do it just in case, my abuser dad would kill me or something. That was a fear of mine because he was staying with me at the time. And I allowed him to stay with me as an adult woman. And this was about 6 years ago or so. It's been a while, but, I did it as a safety mechanism. And that was my inner children really screaming out, that the world needs to know what happened to me, what happened to my family, and you know, and I really I was really grasping at straws. I really needed help at that point, and I didn't realize how incredibly messed up I really was until that point, because I started looking around at information for. I never considered myself an adult survivor of child abuse. I mean, we had a CPS intervention when I was a child. I knew that the Child Protective Services were involved, and they used to come and do visits and check for abuse. And I remember those visits. Um, it's not that I didn't know I was abused. The issue is that I didn't consider myself to be an adult survivor of abuse. I just considered myself to be all of these terrible things that my abusers told me I was, which was worthless, useless, no good, never make it as an adult. Um, just kind of a loser. I was told I was a loser really as an adult most of my life. As a child, I was just called a whole bunch of horrible names and told that I was worthless and useless and should have died. So, I knew that I was really messed up from the abuse, but I didn't really know. I didn't go around calling myself an adult survivor of child abuse, right? Not until I started looking into the information and realized that, yeah, I was and I am an adult survivor of child abuse. And so this is kind of how this whole journey really started. And so, I just like to be a bit of a voice of encouragement. So on my shows on Blog Talk Radio, I talk about sort of a motivational stuff, as well as a monitor, almost like a check-in week, like every day, Monday through Friday, just to see where I'm at in my walk, my healing journey, see what I need to work on, what I'm putting off. It's actually it's not. I decided to keep it positive instead of negative because it's real easy for us to get down on ourselves. Because we're not. Maybe I could get down. I could be really discouraged with myself because. I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, and I should have been doing this. And it's real easy for people, especially survivors of abuse, to be really hard on themselves. And that's our inner voice. That's that inner. Some people call it the inner abuser. Some people call it the inner critical parent. Whatever we want to call it. It's that inner voice that gets after us and gets is almost toxic inside of us. That's really the old abuser voice, right? And that tries to discourage us and tell us, well, we're not doing what we should be doing, and trying to really be harsh on ourselves. And so I decided not to do that. And on the other hand, I realized that I do need to push myself a little bit, because otherwise I've gotten to the place where, as a survivor of abuse, horrific abuse, physical, verbal, emotional, psychological, sexual abuse, that sometimes I'm really too lenient on myself as an adult because I'm like, hey, I've been through hell. So if I just want to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. And so, I'll let myself get out of shape, overweight. I don't drink or do drugs, thank God. I do smoke cigarettes. I'm working on getting that monkey off my back. But otherwise, I'm doing really quite good, other than cigarettes, I think. But I just let things go because I don't want to be too hard on myself. Because hey, I suffered as a child, big time, and as an adult, I want to have a nice, comfy life, right? And so I don't push myself to do things that I know that I need to be doing and I should be doing. So it's also a monitor to sort of check, to see what I need to work on and what I'm focusing on in a positive way, what progress am I making? Which then allows me to see like, yeah, I have made progress. I have made progress. And it is important to gauge these things, to see where, how we're doing in our journey. I know it would take me sometimes 4 to 6 months to work through a particular issue that I was working on. And, no matter what it was, whether it was anger related issues or rage or depression, despair, this kind of stuff, it would take me sometimes a year to work through certain things. And I'd have to look back and say, what progress have I made? And if I kept track of the progress, I'd be able to say, wow, I did make some really serious progress. I never went traditional therapy because I never trusted anybody. I really still have problems with trusting people with my information. That's why I tell the world. I'm like, there's safety in numbers. I'll just tell the world. And I particularly don't want to be railroaded by somebody telling me how to feel. So that's why I don't trust therapist type, counselor type stuff, because I don't want somebody telling me how to feel. I can tell you how I feel about the abuse and about what it did to me and and the damage that it caused in my life, And so I don't need somebody telling me how to feel. So that's why, you know, I try not to do that with other people as survivors of abuse because I know no one needs them to tell them how they feel. They feel the way they do for a certain reason. They know why they feel the way they do, right? And so what I do is just try to be a bit of encouragement out here for people. I always look at information and I like to share it with people, what I'm finding is helpful for me or what I found was helpful for me. We're all sort of, we share a common bond, adult survivors of abuse, right? We've suffered abuse. So share that common bond, but all of us are different. We're all unique. We're all in a different place in our healing journey. We're all making having different pathways for healing, right? And so, what works for me may not work for somebody else, and what works for somebody else might not work for me. But I just like to share what I find, that I think might be helpful for people, and that might help somebody else as much as it helps me. And just take a look at information out there because someone listening to the shows might actually sort of click and say, wow, that seems like that'd be helpful for me. Go check it out themselves. And then, if not, I don't agree with a lot of well, not a lot, I'd say some of the material that I've actually seen out there. And I always tell people when I don't really agree with it because, we don't always agree with everything that we read or see, right? Because we're all different. We're all in a different place in our healing journey and we're all different people. So in that respect, all of our healing journeys are really quite unique. And the abuse that we suffered actually really is unique, right? Nobody's been through the exact same things. Like I said, we have this common bond, right, as survivors of abuse. And we survived abuse. So we're abuse survivors. We have that in common. But it's all our own unique trauma, right? And I think that's what makes this journey so hard. Because each person is different. Each scenario is different. And quite often, I think that people like to lump people into groups. It's like, well, this person, would have these issues because they were abused this way. And you just can't do that. You can't lump people into a box, right? I don't fit into a box, right? And I'm sure that you don't fit into a box. Nobody fits into a box, you know. And that's why I'm very open about the abuse that I suffered, because I want people to know, I am who I am. I am who, you know, am I the abuse? Well, I was definitely affected by the abuse. The way that I think, my thought processes, really everything about me was affected by the abuse, right? So, the abuse created, you know, what it created was who I am, and who I was as a child. It's not complete. It's not a complete whole me. It's not a complete picture of the whole me, right? But it is a big part of it. And why I do what I do, what motivates me to do what I do, and what motivates me in life, what doesn't motivate me in life. And we're all different, like I said, and that's why I think it's very, very hard for adult survivors to connect with anybody because we've all been in different places. But what we have in common is the fact that we have suffered abuse and we know how hard it is, what a struggle it is, most of us to reach out and actually get help. Right? It's very difficult. For me, I didn't have anything to lose, like I say on most of my stuff. If you watch my videos or whatever on my Born in Hell website, my first introductory video, I was talking about that. That I didn't have anything to lose by going public with my story. It was, I didn't feel like my life was going to be threatened if I did tell, or that someone was going to sue me or I was going to lose my family. I never had a family. It was gone before I was born. I did grow up with my biological family, but it was destroyed before I was even born. So I was born into hell. Dysfunction, mental illness, psychological illness, abuse, child abuse, domestic violence, and drug abuse, and child sexual abuse. I mean, you name it. It was horrific. And so, it was really not a family. It was just a group of people hurting each other, is what it was. Trying to pretend they're a family because my mother really wanted to keep that pretend thing up. We're going to pretend. You're going to put a smile on your face, And no, I'm not taking you to the doctor, no. And you're going to put a smile on your face, and you're going to go over there and you're going to smile. We were trained that the abuse stayed at home, and then when we were out in public, we put a smile on them. So I can smile. I can smile. I can get through the day, no problem. But when I come home and I'm on my own time, that's when it's a real problem. And so, for me, I just wanted to do like this, like I said, these videos, just to be a bit of support for people and to encourage you, to keep going and really to not give up, not ever give up. Make that phone call. Two of my brothers killed themselves, and they were drug users. People would look at our family situation and who didn't know about the abuse and who would say, well, they were drug users. They had mental problems. That's why they killed themselves. But see, I know because I'm the youngest born, and I watched the destruction of my family, and I watched what both of my parents did to my siblings, and I watched the abuse, and I watched the destruction, and I know what killed them. It wasn't just that they were just loser drug users, types that most of the world likes to call losers, right? These were my brothers, my flesh and blood, and their lives. They took their own lives. They didn't get help. They didn't reach. They didn't think that their life was worth living enough to reach out and get help. And I tell you what, it is. You matter, and you do count. And I'm telling you that right now. You know, you do count. You do matter. And don't let anybody ever convince you of anything else. I was told that it didn't matter if I died. I was told that I was worthless. No, that I didn't mean anything. I should have died with the other two stillborn babies that were born. This is what I heard my whole life. I didn't count. Even as an adult, I was told that. 29 years old. I didn't count. None of us counted. We were all worthless. We all should have died by a very mentally ill woman who just happened to be my mother. So, I've carried these scars, for these scars in my body, these scars in my heart. The scars on my body, I mean, whatever. The scars in my heart, that's the real damage. And the brain, my mind, my heart, my soul, my spirit. So I want to tell you, you know, you count. You matter, and you have to matter to you. I had to start learning how to care about myself, and that's why I'm very, very particular about telling people this stuff. Because in order for me to stay alive and not end up like my two brothers, who basically let my abusive parents win this battle. That's what they did. And I mean, I don't care. If I went and did something like that, ended my life, all I'm doing is letting my abusers win because that's what they wanted. They wanted to destroy us. That's what they were doing. They were destroying us. So that's why I just, every day that I wake up, I'm like, that's my victory. I'll never see justice any other way. The damage is done. There'll never be restitution on this earth, right? And so I had to start learning to care about myself, right? And care enough to get help and care enough to reach out and care enough to do the things that I need to do daily, these little things that I need to do daily to, to make sure that I'm getting my needs met, right? Because so many times as survivors of abuse, our needs didn't matter. It wasn't about our needs. It was about the abuser's need, whatever that need was, right? So our needs were put underneath. We don't count. Our needs don't matter, right? It's so incredibly wrong, And we need then now, no one can do it for me. I can't expect somebody to come and knock on my door and fix everything. That's just not going to happen. So it's up to me then to reach out and get what I need, right? No matter what it is, I got to reach out and address these issues daily and get the stuff that I need, whatever it is. And so that's what it's taken me a long time to do, is to work on this stuff, to make sure that, and my needs are being met. And that, in the meantime, it's not just all about me. I'm learning, I care about others, but do I care about me? Right? I've always been able to kind of care about other people, especially people that are good to me. I like people that are good to me. I basically blow off anybody who's not. The minute somebody messes up around me, they're just gone really quickly. I don't even give people really a second chance, which is sometimes trying to learn how to be a little more easygoing, but as a survivor of horrific abuse, it's really hard for me to allow someone around me who's not necessarily looking out for my interests and only interested in theirs. Can't do it. I've set really strong boundaries. So, but the thing is, I can't expect this, somebody else to do this for me. You know, I need to do this. I need to be the one responsible to make sure that my needs are being met. You know, that's the only way I'm going to be able to help meet the people's needs that I love and care about. I had to learn how to care about myself and get myself, situated, right? Stabilized, boundaries set, and all this work that I've had to do. It's taken me a long time. So I just want to be a voice of, encouragement for you and support, really, just to say, if you're struggling, like I said, and you're having a hard time, you don't know what you're going to do, you reach out and you make a phone call. You stick it out and you listen to my voice. And I'm telling you, the reason I'm doing this is because all my life I had suicidal ideation, probably from the age of 8 years old on up until the age of 42, when I was pretty sure that I was going to end it. And I knew how serious I was because two of my brothers killed themselves. One of my sisters was suicidal as well. My parents were both suicidal. So they ran in the family. That's why our parents were trying to destroy us all the time. Right? It was pure evil, pure evil. And if you want to know about the details of the abuse, which I won't be talking about on these shows, really too many details, you can go and check out my videos because they are very graphic. But only watch them if you're safe enough to do so. And the same with this video as well, and future videos. Make sure that you're far enough along in your healing journey that this type of information won't trigger you. But I really like to encourage people who are out there just struggling, because I know that there are people out there, who are hurting so incredibly bad that they don't know how they're going to get through the night. I knew 42 years when I was 42 years old, about 8-9 years ago, that I didn't know how I was going to take another breath. One night, I was pretty sure that I could not go on any further. And I mean, I had been through hell. And so it took me a lot just to get where I had gotten to the age of 41 years old, 41 and a half, right in there somewhere. And I thought, I can't do it anymore, Okay, I'm 50, almost 51 now. I'm going on 51 in December. So I'm like 50 and a half, And I'm telling you what, I am so glad that I made the right choice. The right choice to learn to care about myself, to love myself, to want to reach out and get help. Because I could never get that love from the people that I needed that love to come from. That love that says, I do count, I do matter, I'm a person, I have rights, and I have every right to be here like everybody else. I have the right to be treated with love and care and gentleness and concern, compassion and empathy, And I have the right to get my needs met, no matter what they are, just like everybody else, right? I'm not all those horrible things that they told me I was, And I took off that necklace that they put around my neck with all this horrible role-playing stuff that I was just this evil, black sheep kid of the family. After the two brothers killed themselves, my two older brothers, I became the black sheep. They had to have somebody to abuse continually, right? So it's like I was already being abused, but the whole family, I'm talking, as a family unit, had to have somebody they could run down because they didn't want it coming to them. So they got to do it to them. It was all about who can I abuse so that I won't be the abused, right? That's family. That's how that runs in families quite often, right? Siblings don't always come together for support. So, then I became the target with the whole family, that was left, that was still alive, right? And then as an adult, I'm sitting around wearing this necklace with this garbage on it that my abusers put on there, and I was wearing it. I took it off and I threw it away. I just went, I'm not wearing that anymore. I'm not wearing it anymore. No, I'm me. My name is Laurie Smith. I was named by my nurse because my mother didn't give a shit about me. So she didn't even bother to change my name. My nurse named me. That's okay. That's fine. That's who I am. My name is Laurie Smith. I'm a survivor of abuse. And you know what? I'm an incredibly strong person to get where I've got today. And I do count and I do matter and I'm a good person. And, I am learning to love myself, take care of myself. And they could not destroy me. And that's my justice right there. So I want that for you. And I hope that you will make the right decision. Get help, reach out. If you're having a day where you just, even if it's not today, 2 weeks from now, you're struggling, you're really having a hard time, you remember what I'm saying to you. You stick it out and you get some help. You do the right thing because you do deserve to be here and you do count and you do matter. So that's it for this weekend Survivor check-in video. And, I just wish you a good day, a comfortable day, a day of healing. Look at some good information if you have a computer. Look at some motivational quotes, from Brady Quote or something. Ponder these things, think of something that you can do that would just help you today, in your healing journey, right? Make small steps, little steps, things that can help you just get through the weekend, right? Make a phone call. If you don't have somebody to call a crisis line. But you do the right thing and you stick around because I want you to meet me here next weekend for the next Survivor video, which should be right about the same time here, Saturday morning. So take care, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I'll see you on Monday morning on Blog Talk Radio. Talk to you soon.